bloody fantastic.
Hello everybody, my name is Goodboy and welcome to a video on Mars. What are the trending builds for the hero and how to make yourself unstoppable? Before we begin though, please of course, like, subscribe, share the video and hit that glorious notification bell. So, if you're lucky enough to actually play Mars, i.e. he hasn't been first picked by the enemy team or banned, then Mars is proving to be an interesting hero of the meta right now. Now, currently his win rate is slightly negative, about 48% win rate, but please do note that's because literally everybody's playing him from high skill to low skill, and of course it's a new hero. So, people are very unfamiliar, and whenever you're trying to learn a new hero, you generally play it not as well. The hero, frankly, in my opinion, is ridiculous, and I think in successive patches, Mars will be brought off the boil. But here we are, he's here and now, and let's have a look at kind of, well, how he's trending and how people are building him. So in terms of, we'll start with itemizations. Some of the biggest and most popular items to pick with the guy are things like Blink Dagger, Power Treads, Bracer, Vladimir's Offering, Phase Boots, Blade Mail, and Black King Bar. Now, if you think about those items, these are all standard for melee initiation heroes. I mean, the Power Treads is kind of here and there. Phase Boots is a different alternative. That's actually more of an aggressive carry build. Blink Dagger, obviously starting fights, catching targets, etc., etc. Essential for anyone, really. Bracer, obviously, is a starting item. Blade Mail, obviously, tanky initiate, you want to return the damage. And BKB, of course, to protect you from those kind of damages. Hero items that tend to definitely help the hero in terms of actual win rate of those is going to be more like Blink Dagger, Vladimir's Offering. In terms of popular extension items that you've carried with Mars, you're looking at things like Assault Cuirass, Crimson Guard, Pipe of Insight. His magic resistance isn't especially high. And then in terms of like extension carry items, you're looking at things like Sanjin Yasha and Desolator. But again, that kind of is telling of what kind of builds you're looking at and what people are going for. And in particular, looking for like ability builds and stuff like that. So you can kind of play him as two ways. You can play him as an off-lane initiation hero, and pretty much everything I just said then makes sense. So the Blade Mail, the Blink Dagger, the Power Treads, all perfectly good. You blink in a team fight and you activate obviously the ultimate, and then your team has a great time beating to death the enemies. And then equally, if you in lane, super tanky, particularly with that bulwark, you tend to do really well. Now, in terms of leveling and priorities to get yourself the best value, as it were, the right priorities after the ultimate is actually maxing out your Q first and maxing out your W last in terms of your best favourable win rate. Now this is linked mainly due to the setup for the spear. So if you think about what the spear does, it does tremendous levels of magic damage, which is what you need in the early game. It has tremendous range, it knocks people back so it can save your life, and it also has a ridiculous 2.8 second disable if of course you smack someone into a tree or a cliff or whatever. That in itself, in terms of early game setups and kills and even farming, is actually pretty insane. And that's why it tends to offer the most value. Bulwark comes next because, well, of course, the damage block. And then finally, God's Rebuke. Because the damage output from it is actually not that great in the early game, but becomes really, really good towards the late game, actually leveling or, not maxing that out first can actually offer you quite a lot of value from the hero. So that's kind of why that kind of order priority takes ahead. In terms of the talent tree, this is interesting, and I kind of picked these all by accident, but it turns out these are actually one of the kind of best things. The movement speed for the hero gives you a much better win rate than the +8 strength. And yes, okay, fine, the strength, great for sustainability. But actually Mars with Bulwark doesn't massively take a huge amount of physical damage. And fine, yeah, you can nuke him, and that's why you might want to get a Pipe of Insight in the future as you level the hero. But actually, not actually that particularly scary. But that movement speed, oh yeah, massively great for chasing people down, and of course, when you create that arena, you want to be on top of your enemies, and so movement speed is massive. In terms of your level 15 talent tree, the plus 35 damage tends to do way better than the armor. I mean, I think most people instinctively go for the damage over the armor, and damage naturally stacks with his God's Rebuke shield smash abilities. That's pretty awesome. Now, the level 20 both have value, but the spear stun duration lasting 1.5 seconds is actually proving to have a slightly improved win rate. Stands to reason, because if you take into account a max spear level at 2.8 plus another 1.5, you're looking at over a 4-second stun. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's that in and of itself. If you can pull that off, they'll die. I mean, or they should die. You can even sort of you can God's Rebuke them, spear them, and then God's Rebuke them again. You know, it's completely ridiculous. And then finally, you've got at level 25, you've got Arena of Blood, which grants team plus 100 HP regen, and then or the God's Rebuke plus 80% crit. Now, it's kind of an even keel in terms of your selection, and of course, with each of these talents, it does obviously depend on the game you're kind of having. The Arena of Blood grants team plus 100 HP regen is awesome for team fights if that's critical, but generally, in terms of like damage output for the hero at level 25, you're going to want to be focusing a lot more on God's Rebuke and getting that 80% crit damage, so it does tend to have a slightly more improved win rate. So that kind of, that sort of summarizes most of the build orders there. But if you want to, in terms of like specific levels, by level 4, you want a point in every single one of them, but you'll max out your Q first, your Bulwark second, obviously always picking your ultimate and your talents, and then you'll max out Bulwark, your God's Rebuke last. Those are that's generally the most favorable build that offers the best win rates. So finally, let's look at kind of like trending processes that are, people are picking on the hero. So typically the aggressive carry approach sees phase boots being used as opposed to power treads. That's kind of the way forward. However, not necessarily always, but generally that extra movement speed helps them chase down targets and kills them. Soul Ring can work quite nicely in terms of like mana supply, because one of the weaknesses is that your mana supply is limited, but at the same time obviously you got to watch your health, although he does a pretty good regen, so it's it's that kind of thing. So that can take up for mana and your spear uses, so do bear in mind Soul Ring. But items that typically we're seeing trending outside of course of Blade Mail and Blink Dagger, it tends to depend. When people are playing for the carry builds, either you'll go for a Battle Fury or a Radiance. Again, these are very aggressive farm builds. But what a lot of people tend to like to do is actually Sanjin Yasha. Naturally, that gives you everything you're going to need to continue to chase down your targets and kill them. Maelstrom can also be a pretty great item in terms of securing yourself farm if you're not going for either Radiance or Battle Fury. And then late game items, a Satanic can be pretty awesome on the guy too. So these kind of all fit together quite nicely to help the hero move ahead and build. But it does depend what you want to do, because if you're going to pick an off-lane hero at position 3, because like I say, a lot of high-end pro players are playing Mars as like let's play him as a hard carry, and he can definitely play as hard carry for sure. But at the same time, in terms of actual win rates, played as a position 3 offlaner is actually where he's seeing his best value. So this is just simple Blink Dagger, Power Treads, Blade Mail, BKB, and Vladimir's Offering. These are all the ones that are kind of fitting in quite nicely with the hero and tend to fare as an offlane position 3 initiation hero. But if you are going to carry, then as mentioned the items before. Anyway, that's kind of what's trending right now with the different builds. Try them out yourself, tell me what you think, and of course comment below in terms of what you feel is working best for you and all that good stuff. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching. Please as always like, subscribe and share the video, and hit that glorious notification bell. Thanks for watching and goodbye.